account type, account ID, account number, and account balance and date open. So from account, we can make two things. First, the first one is transaction and also the payment. So the first one is transaction. We have this transaction ID, transaction type, amount, date, and receiver amount, account. So for the payment is payment ID, type, amount, biller account, and biller name. But I didn't underline the foreign key and the primary key yet.
Okay.
I just realized that.
Okay.
So,
this one you create system for what?
Online banking.
Online banking.
Yeah.
Okay, so first thing lah before we open, for create and lodging, this one for the that relationship you identify, you change with one name only, one relationship only.
Oh,
So you have to identify one keyword which is suitable for both, that represent both process which is relating to the create and lodging.
So I have to create one instead of two.
Yes,
Okay.
one only. In the ERD cannot, but then in the DFD, yes, you can make it this way. But then ERD cannot. Just only a single relationship. Okay.
Okay.
So, but then still missing you didn't underline your foreign key.
Yeah. My primary key and foreign key. But I already jot down at the bottom, right, in the table.
No, cannot. No need. You still have, because at the table which is different part, but then the diagram which is different part. So for the diagram also they must have their own primary key and foreign key. So they will have their own what we call that marks, because you have to remember this one. Normally for the database designer they just based on the ERD, but then you move to the table, that one which is more to the developer, database developer. So that's why designer have to identify from beginning lah, from here. So you still not identify the foreign key here.
The foreign key, I think is the first one is user ID, transaction ID, payment ID. That three. That is foreign key. User ID.
You have to refer foreign key to which entity. What is the foreign key?
Oh, okay. So for the user, the foreign key is user ID.
Is it?
I believe so.
No, it's
okay. What in time?
Okay.
It's account ID for the
account ID.
key.
No, for the previously. Sarah Lisa, explain again your explanation before this for the user. Explain again. Everybody please listen to Sarah Lisa explanation. Come on, Sarah Lisa.
Okay, for the foreign key, for the user, is actually user ID. Okay. I don't know. Okay.
Stop, Lisa. It's okay. I'm sorry, Lisa. Okay, so is it correct? Her explanation. Come on, open to the class. Yes, baby.
I mean the user ID should be the primary key for user.
Sarah Lisa, can you get what which is being told by baby? No, Sarah Lisa?
Yeah.
So what she explained, what's baby are you explained before this?
I didn't hear anything.
Okay. So that's why if you didn't hear, then ask baby are you to repeat again.
Hi baby, can you repeat that again?
Okay. Before you mentioned that user ID is your foreign key, but actually it is your primary key.
Oh, okay.
So are you agree, Sarah Lisa?
I think I agree with that, because there's another one for primary key is from account, which is account ID. I'm quite confused between both of them.
Hold on. Account ID, what for account?
Account ID is primary key.
For table account?
Yeah.
Okay. So it means that one which is what being explained by baby Ayu previously correct lah. You have to identify primary key which is related to that particular entity. Okay. Next one. What about the payment?
For the payment, the foreign key or primary key?
Forgot.
What the first thing that you have to identify?
I think I want to identify first the primary key for payment.
Yes, correct. You have to identify. After you identify the attribute, you have to identify the primary key first. And then after that, you will refer based on the relationship. Then you are going to identify the foreign key.
Okay, so for the payment, the primary key is actually payment ID.
Okay.
And then for the transaction, the primary key is transaction ID.
Okay. So that one which is correct lah for the primary key.
Yeah.
What about the foreign key?
For the foreign key, wait.
Maybe your group members also can explain. Who else which is in your group, Sarah Lisa?
Intan, Intan Shazwani.
So maybe you also can explain.
For the payment table, the primary key, sorry, Lisa said tadi payment ID. So for the foreign key is account ID.
In the table, transaction.
Payment.
In the table payment. Okay, in the table payment, so you are going to have account ID as a foreign key. Why, Intan, you move account ID to the table payment instead of you move payment ID to the table account? Why, Intan? Why you move account ID from the table account to the payment table as a foreign key? Why?
Why? Because we
Why?
need account ID to make a payment.
That one which is logic, but then based on the diagram. Why?
Based on that. Sebab the relationship
Uh-huh.
one to many.
Which part which is many?
Payment.
So that's the way of how you have to explain relating to the relationship. Correct. Okay.
Yay!
Okay. So next one for the transaction, I hope that you can understand. But then what happened to the user and account? User and account right now, your relationship which is what is the cardinality between user and account?
1.
1.
Yeah.
So one user can only open one account.
Yes.
Is it in the real life that way?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, we can log into several accounts, but like you said, we have to make another one for, to suit our table.
What do you mean by make another one?
Like you said just now, we cannot like create we have to like create and log in, like we have to make one.
That one which is the name. I did the name for sure you have to change just on the one. But then right now I'm talking about the cardinality.
Okay.
So one user can have how many accounts in real life?
Many accounts.
So that's why the cardinality for this one which is already wrong. Okay. So you have to refer to your real life, because for you, for example, in Bank Islam, maybe you will have account, your own savings account, you will have your credit card account. Maybe you also have a check account. So it means that it is one to many relationship. Okay, based on the cardinality. So you have to change lah. And then since you already have that one, then you have to know about the movement of the primary foreign key also. So you have to improve a little bit for this one. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So what else that you want to show?
For task 2.
Okay.
So this is our table. So this is the table user.
Okay, so make sure that you already identify everything lah. But then let's move to the part with the foreign key. Which table that have a foreign key?
The account.
So account, wait, hold on. For the account, yes, you already put FK at the end of your table name. But then for the notation of the foreign key, you cannot put solid underline. But then you have to use dotted underline.
Okay.
If you use solid underline, it means that it is a primary key. So you have to change that. Okay, so right now you have user ID as a foreign key in the table account. This user ID belongs to which table originally?
User table.
User table. Can you move to the user table? Hold on, wait. User ID, char 7. Let's move to the below one, account. Okay, so this one 7. Okay, this one is correct. Okay, acceptable.
So this is payment and transaction.
Why you have number 9 at the end of closing bracket? Is it typo?
Oh yeah,
Typo.
typo.
So you have to
Sorry.
double check lah this one. Okay, next one. Anything else?
This one is transaction.
Okay, so same with the top one lah. Make sure for the foreign key change the underline. Okay,
This is
so
our
this is the data.
yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let's move to the table. Move to the data dictionary tab. For the table user. Data dictionary up. Oh wait. Okay, so you are using character. Okay, move down again. Move down to your data, your record, task 3. Okay, this one which is okay. So you just make sure that everything which is correct data. If for example your phone, this phone you set as a number, isn't it, for user phone?
Yes.
Okay, so make sure that
Yes.
everything which is number. Okay, so this one which is correct. Okay. For the data, you just double check lah based on make sure that the data type which is similar. So this one which is for your group assignment, for your assignment number 3 or for your assignment sorry, this one assignment number 2, isn't it? Because assignment number 3 relating to the educational.
Yeah.
So if you want to use for your exam after this, actually you can use your data here based on your data that you already created.
Okay.
But if you have for the part for assignment 3, that one which is better lah actually. But at least you can show from this one. And then if you have any problems, then we can see after this. Do not follow based on my example because maybe my example, the mistake which is very, very minimum. Because I want my student to do the mistake, then we are going to read the error message. Then we are going to know how we are going to solve. Okay? Okay, so everything which is good. So you can proceed, just do the minor changes lah. And then after that, if you want to show to me again, next week still can because the submission which is on the 26th. So we still have next week lah to do the minor changes before the final submission. Okay, but then everything which is already okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
Doktor
thank you
nak
very
tanya.
much. Now, yeah.
Lisa, naikkan ke
Yes.
atas Lisa.
Ya,
Dekat
mana situ?
dekat apa tu? Dekat gambar tadi.
Jap.
Sekejap eh.
Okay.
Doktor. Kan for account table ni maksud dia akan ada 3 foreign key ke? Is it mistake? Saya salah.
Sarah Lisa, is it at the account table we are going to have 3 foreign key? Sarah Lisa?
I think we only have 2, but I don't know.
2?
Wait, foreign key, right?
Foreign key.
Oh god.
How many
3, I
foreign
think.
key? Right now, previously I already asked you to change here to many, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
This part which is many.
So we will have 3, right?
Is it 3? Open to the class. How many foreign key in the table
I
account?
think 2.
Come on. How many foreign key? Based on this relationship. This one between user and account near to the user relationship which is many. Come on, how many foreign key in the table account? Come on. Anyone want to share, want to help?
Doktor help me.
No, I'm not going to. I open to the class first. Come on, everybody, try to just say how many foreign key in the table account. Maybe every other than you all, which is Nabil, you want to share?
I think 3.
Nabil? Nabil Fikri?
Ya saya.
So how many foreign key in the table account?
I think for the account I think 2.
Yes, 2. What is the foreign key?
Payment ID and transaction ID.
Payment ID and transaction ID. Sorry Nabil, wrong. But then, very good try. Okay, who else? Come on, who else? How many foreign key in the table account? Luckily that we are not in the lab. Siti Zulaikha said 1. But then actually if you type for those which is present, they cannot read your message. So you didn't have mouse. You didn't have mic. Siti Nuzulaika. Hey, this one which is I already explained last week. Luckily that you are not in the lab. If in the lab, I will ask you to open the window and then jump from the third floor. Okay, so you have to remember previously when you want to move the foreign key from the what we call that entity with the one cardinality will move to the many. Okay, so it means that previously you can see that between user and account, one to many near to the account, it means that user ID will become foreign key in the table account. But for the transaction and payment, because many which is near to the transaction and also near to the payment, it means that account ID will become foreign key in the table transaction and account ID will become foreign key in the table payment. Okay, so this one you have to go back, you have to read again based on your mapping in the section number 9. If you are not sure, you have to double check again. Because if you write this way, but then at the end you create wrong primary key, at the end we are going to face problem when we develop our database. Okay, but then I hope that you can understand. Anyway, thank you very much for your presentation, and then also thank you for those which is respond. Okay, to all of your friend question, at least you will know that okay, previously which is I already understand, which is something not actually what the correct way for the drawing the data our ERD. Okay, so thank you. Anyway, thank you for Nabil Fikri. This for you to try. Okay, let's me move to our, because it's already 3:21. So if we have time after this at the end of this class, so you still can show to me your diagram. But then if not, then we try to allocate maybe around 1 hour next week before your presentation. And then again, I want to repeat submission and also whatever related to the assignment, please do not email to me. Okay, because everything which is should be, if you have any questions, should be during the class. And then if you have all the submissions, to make sure that everybody which is already open this editor, and after you open this editor, please hit button start for the Apache and MySQL. So after you hit button start that particular tool, and then you can see that automatically admin button for the Apache and MySQL will be activated. But then right now I want you to hit button admin next to the MySQL part. So you hit this one. Sorry, my internet connection which is very, very slow. Okay, so this is what we are going to cover for this particular part. After this, everything which is we are going to type our SQL. But then as I already told you before, the difference between Apex Oracle and our tools, which is we cannot get the output at the bottom of the screen, but then we can go to the another tab after this. Okay, so make sure that everybody which is already open. So let's move back to the database programming section 13. So I'm going to go through very fast for the section 13 because as what I already told you before, I will explain relating to my notes because I already summarized everything in my notes. Because in your Oracle notes, that one which is more to the explanation. Those explanation I'm going to give verbal explanation after this. But then no need to worry if any part, for example, we already finish our class, any part which is not clear, then you can go through first based on the Oracle notes again for the revision, and it's still not clear, then you can ask me again in the next class lah. Okay, so for the table creation, creating the table, for this one which is normally we are going to, actually for this table creation normally will be done by the database administrator. So this one which is not as a normal user. Actually in the full complete database, they will have another account, which is as a database administrator, we just have the power or have the authority to create database, change all the table structure. Okay, but then for normal user, we cannot have that particular authority. So that's why for this one, as I already told you before, normally in one organization for the DBA, they just only have one or maximum two for the big organization, because the salary for the DBA, which is very, very expensive. And then, okay, so for this one, which is about the creating small table, okay, database schema. So for this one, which is actually, we just based on the object, okay? We didn't have the authority to do all the index, constraint, view, sequence, and synonym. So this one which is not available for the unlicensed version of the software. Okay, and then this one which is we are going to know after this for the selection letter, the next following class. Okay, so this one which is again interface of the Oracle, Apex Oracle. So you just ignore this part lah. Okay, but now, okay, this one again repeated from the section number 9 about the table creation. So for the table creation, make sure that everything must start with a letter. Do not start with the number, must start with the letter. And then this is the maximum length. And then the next one, which is about the content. So similar with what that we already covered in the chapter 9. Okay, must not be duplicate, must not use the Oracle reserved word. Okay, if we are using our editor after this, then you will know if that one which is reserved word, they will change that particular word to the blue colors. So it means that that one which is cannot be used as your own user defined word. Okay, okay, this one which is about the naming convention, similar with the previous one, but then as I already told you before, do not create the short form. This is all the syntax. Okay, for this syntax, actually, I already have in my notes about creating the syntax together with the example. So all these things, which is everything in my notes now for this one. Okay, about the data dictionary. As what I already explained in the database design section 9, we just only accept character and also number, or in our editor after this, we are going to use integer. Other than that, which is not acceptable. Okay. And then the next one, which is about using data type. Okay, this one which is we have to skip a lot lah, because it is not available. Okay, we just use char and also we just use number. So all these things which is cannot be used. Time span also cannot be used, interval and so on. So that one we just skip. And then modifying table. So we are going to have after this, which is about modifying table. We are going to use alter table. So it means that whatever that you already create beginning, actually you still can change based on the what I call that, based on the size of the table. For example, previously you already set that your column, your table consists of 6 columns, but then in future you are going to add again another column. You still can add using the alter table, but then you have to remember that addition or deletion of the columns just only for the columns which is not that you set as a primary key or foreign key. Because previously I have experienced my student, she forget to add foreign key beginning when she types for the creating the table, but then she want to use alter table to add the primary key. Sorry, system cannot accept. Okay, so that's why that one which is cannot be done. So if you already forget, it means that you have to delete your table, then you have to create again lah, everything from the scratch relating to your table. So that's why you have to be careful for the primary key and foreign key. You have to identify from beginning. Okay, and then okay, keep track. Nothing permanent. So this one alter table I have in my notes. After this is the syntax for the alter table. Modifying column. Okay, and then next one which is about dropping, removing a column. And then the last one which is about delete the table. Okay, so flashback table cannot be done, sorry. Not available in limited version. Rename and truncate also which is cannot be done. Okay, flashback query and so on, no, cannot. So that's why you can see that there are lots of things which is actually put in the section 13, section 13 actually just only for the licensed version of the DBMS. So for us, which is there are few things cannot be done. That one actually for the more advanced version lah. But then for the simple version, actually everything can be done with the limited version for our DBMS. Okay. So now please make sure that open your editor. So everybody which is already opened this editor for this part. And then you also have to open my SQL DDL part 1. Okay, because I'm going to open 3 different screens. So this screen will be a bit small. Okay, and then I'm going to open, because myself right now, I'm going to base on my example from my, what I call that, from my forum. But for you, for your assignment, please do not base on this particular forum. If you use this one, then I'm going to give you 0. Okay, so now I open 3 different files. So this is all the file that we are going to use for our development. So right now, you can see that you open your file under DDL part 1. Because you have to remember whatever that you do for this one, after this, after you complete everything from part 1 until part 3, okay, you have to, already expired. Wait. You have to resend again to the tab assignment. And so after this, after you complete all the 3 files, then you have to submit. Okay, you have to submit this part. Then for this one, maybe I'm going to give you additional marks. But then maybe, I'm not sure because I'm still waiting instruction from the top management, because previously they said that we have to prepare take-home test. So we already prepared the question for the take-home test. But then yesterday, maybe you noticed that they already provide instruction which is cannot be used take-home test anymore. Then we have to change to something else. So we are not sure yet what type of the assessment. So who knows, maybe I'm going to base on this exercise, and then that one will be marks for your final exam. So that one which is depends lah, because myself also, before I make any decision, I have to wait instruction from the top management. I cannot simply just make my own decision. Okay, so that's why. But then why not you just make sure prepare yourself first. Okay, because maybe I will use that way lah. Okay, so please reply for that one. Then okay, so let's open this part. Okay, so Internet Explorer, both of my screen. Okay, so now from here you can see that at this particular page, the first thing which is you have to write down your student name and also your student ID, because I want to make sure that you are not going to copy others what you call the others people job. Okay, so that's why please make sure that you write down your name and also your student ID. Okay, and then the next one which is relating to your database name. So for this database name which is dependent, it is up to you. Maybe you want to base on your assignment number 2, or maybe you want to base on your assignment number 3, or maybe you want to base on any types of the example which is available on the net. Okay, so it is up to you, as long as not similar with my example. I didn't want you to put or to create something which is similar with my example. Okay, because I want you to do the mistake. Okay, because from there, then we are going to learn something from that particular mistake. So for this one, for example, myself, my database name, which is relating to the ship item. So I'm going to relating for your, because I already have few database. So I'm going to differentiate A192. You are group B, isn't it? Okay, group B, ship. Okay, so for example, this is my database name. Okay, then after you already identify your database name, then we are going to see, okay, under data definition language. Okay, DDL. Under DDL, actually, we have, okay, so you can see that we have we have 5 things that can be done in our DDL, which is the first one is about creating database. So once creating database, it is relating to the data definition language. It means that we want to develop the structure. Okay, first one, creating database. And the next one, if you want to remove, you want to delete database also under DDL. Next one, for changing the table, okay? Creating the table. If you want to create the table, you want to create the table structure, then you have to use DDL statement. After create the table, then we want to change the table definition. So for this one, which is as what I already told you before, we want to add column. Okay, for example, previously we already have 7 column. We want to add 1 more column. Then you have to use this particular what you call that syntax lah, which is under alter table. And then the next one, which is you also can remove any column. For example, previously you create column for what? What else? Okay, based on place of birth. But then after that, you notice that no, I didn't want to save place of birth anymore in my database. Okay, because I want to reduce the usage of the space in my database. So that's why I'm going to remove certain data which is actually not important data. So that's why you can see that you can use alter table, drop the column. Okay, and then the next one, if you want to remove the table, it means that you want to delete the table, then we have the syntax drop table. Okay, so that's all. We have 5 different syntax. Okay, and in my file, you can see that every syntax I provide to you example. So it means that you will know, okay, this is the syntax for example, creating database. This is example of what actually we have to do if we want to create our database. So right now, okay, we are going to create our database. It means that we are going to start with the process number 1 under data definition language. So for the syntax of creating table, you can see that we have to start with the word create table, and then after that follow with your database name, and then you have to end with the semicolon. Okay, so for this one, ending with the semicolon, actually it is depends on your version. Some of the version of your DBMS tool, which is already smart enough, even though you didn't end with the semicolon, they will know that, okay, they are going to stop. So that's all the syntax. So once you run, you will get the result. But then sometimes some of the DBMS tool without semicolon is if you hit button go, they will not pop up to you the result, because they will give you a warning where they say that your SQL statement which is not complete yet. Okay, so that's why again I told you that it is depends on the version, because sometimes some of the students say that, Miss, why myself, if I didn't put semicolon, which is I cannot run, but then my friend, which is even though she or he didn't put semicolon, but then that one which is can be run. So that's why again I told you that it is depends on the version of your tools. Okay, so now, because previously I told you that my database name which is A192B sheet. So if we want to create our database, we have to start with the word create database followed with the database name. So my database name is A192B sheet. So go to the editor, make sure that right now you are under tab SQL. Okay, then you have to type the what you call that, you have to type the syntax lah. So for this one, which is actually for the syntax, it is not case sensitive. So it is up to you. But then for me, I always practice as a habit. So normally syntax which is belongs to the tools or belong to the SQL, I will use capital letter. But then based on my own user defined data, it is up to you. It is up to me whether I want to use a capital letter or I want to use a small letter. So it is up to you lah. Okay, because this one which is not case sensitive except for the data. So I will start with the word create database. Okay, so you can see that, okay, we already have create database. Right now, you can see that our editor, which is very smart, no need for you to key in one by one. Myself previously, when I'm start using Oracle, which is Oracle AI, under internet, not cloud. So during that time, no, you have to key in one by one. If wrong spelling at the end, you will not get the result. Okay, that what happened before this lah, which is the old version during my study time. So everything which is without any error and so on. So you have to check, you have to be careful by yourself. Okay. So database, create database, follow with the database name, which is my database name is A192B ship. Okay. So I will end with the semicolon. So before we hit button go, please copy first. Okay. Because for this one, normally if you already hit button go, you cannot get back whatever that you already typed before in your SQL statement. Okay, so that's why you type first in the SQL editor, okay, and then copy and then paste here. So you can see that in your SQL part 1 DDL, after syntax, this is based on my example. But then the second column, I already provide SQL statement. So this SQL statement, please copy from the editor and then paste in your Microsoft Word. Please do not write in the Microsoft Word and then copy in the editor. That one, they cannot accept. You will get the error. Previously, because I have experience where my student which is didn't follow my instruction, so she or he create everything in the Microsoft Word, and then after that I'm using she lah, okay, copy in the editor. But then when run, even though the syntax which is correct, hit button go, still pop up warning. Okay, so that's why myself also, I didn't know how to solve. So when I asked that particular student, can you explain to me what you have done, what you create before? And then he keep on telling me that I follow whatever that you already taught before. Okay, so that's why if you didn't know how to explain, it is I didn't know how to solve. So that's why for this one, which is please follow step by step with me, or you have to remember what you have done, then you have to explain to me. So that's why my practice before this, you can see that uh, how I implement before this. When you show your ERD, I ask you to, okay, explain to me what the story behind your diagram. Okay, because from there, then I will know the process. Because you have to remember our subject, which is relating to the step-by-step process. It is not relating to the end result. If you just based on the end result, then you will not get the result lah. So please be careful. But if you already type in the editor, you copy in the Microsoft Word, okay? Sorry, you paste in the Microsoft Word, and then after that, if something which is wrong or whatsoever, for example, database missing letter E, but you copy from here, paste again in the editor, that one which is acceptable. So it means that everything must start with the editor. You cannot start with your Microsoft Word, or you cannot start with your Notepad. So that one which is cannot be done. Please remember, every semester I'm facing the same problem. Even though I keep on stressing beginning before I start doing the, what I call that, development. Okay. So this one done. Then you can see that there are button go at the bottom of the editor. You try to hit button go. Let's see, is there any error or not? Okay, so right now you can see that. Hold on, why my editor is already missing? Hold on. That's me. Wait. Hold on, SQL group box. Hold on. Where's that one which is already missing? Okay, so never mind. Okay, so right now you can see that I have to use this screen. Okay, because once you do before this, there are no error message which is pop up. Then maybe some of you you can get the editor. Okay, so you can see that right now, this one which is I already create A192B sheet which is already exists in my database. Okay. What's the problem with my editor? Okay, so right now for the output, you want to show that your database which is already created, which is under your PHP My Admin. So you just go, I'm using the snipping tool. Okay, so I will snip this one. So it means that this one which is already exists. Paste. Then you can rearrange again lah for this one in order to make sure that you can see everything. So for this one, it means that we already done first part where we already create our database, which is using the SQL statement create database A192B sheet. So this one you can see that it is already exists here. Okay. So that one which is for the create database. And then the next one, you can see that if you go to the syntax, the next syntax which is removing database. So for example, right now, I'm going to remove our database that we already create before because we want to know that under SQL DDL, we can create database, we also can delete database. Okay, so if you want to do that one, then you go to the SQL editor. So for the removing database, you have to start with the word drop database. Okay, and the next one which is follow with your database name. For example, I'm going to remove again my database that I already created before, A192B ship. SHIP, close with the semicolon. So before we hit button run, or button go, copy first and then paste it here under, sorry. Yeah. Mana? Drop database A192B sheet. Okay, close with the semicolon. So okay, copy this one first and then paste it here. If anything happen, then we just copy and paste. So you hit button go and then you can see that from here, that one which is already removed. So for this one, which is, I'm going to snip this one to show that, okay, that one which is already removed. So paste here. So you can see that previously I have, hi, my computer already opening. Okay, so right now you can see that previously I have A192B ship. But once I use the drop button or the drop instruction before this, what's the problem? Oh yeah, hold on. Okay, let's make it. Okay, so you can see that this one A192B ship which is no longer exists. Okay, so this one which is 2 for the removing database. So I'm going to minimize this one. Then I'm going to create again. So create again. This one I'm going to problem with my laptop. Okay, so I copy this one, then I will go to the editor. Okay, move to the SQL, and then I hit this one, hit button go, and then this one which is successful. Then you can see that this one which is already exists. Okay, so now try first. Anyone got problem, and then you can present the screen. So I gave you around 3 minutes to do for the create database and also develop database. So now 350, so 353, I'm going to start with the next one. So if anyone got problem, then you can present the screen. Okay, so do it now.
Doktor,
Yes.
kan tadi dah buat untuk drop database kan, kena create balik ke database tu?
Yelah, kena create balik lah.
Create balik
Okay. Memang dah hilang lah. So that's why myself also I create again.
Okay.
I have problem with my screen. So anyone got problem? Anyone got a problem? Then you can show your screen. Then maybe we can solve together. So right now you can see that we already have our own database. Okay, so for this one, which is depends lah. It is up to you because as I already told you before, which is it is related to your database name that you already create here. So that's why your name here should be same with what that you already create on the top or what you already type on the top of your file. Okay, so this one we just want to know what actually happened because you can see that. Let me move back while you're doing your task. You refer back to your assignment number 3. Okay, so for your assignment number 3, you can see that. Okay, this one for the database development, create database, I didn't ask you to provide lah. But then after this for create table, then you have to write one by one. What is your table name? Okay, for example, if you have a table, what on the table we have table customer. Okay, then you have to type the SQL statement. This SQL statement which is similar with this particular column lah, column number 2, and then the next one for the output. Okay, you follow based on what I already done before this. So for example, I'm using snipping tool, then you have to remember lah which part that we are going to do. So if you follow step by step what I'm doing during class, then you are not going to have problem relating to creating your what you call that for section 4.1. Okay, based on this part. So that's why for this one actually, after you done this one, if you already confirm everything on the top, so you can immediately start. Actually, don't need to wait until until week 12 for you to submit your assignment. But then you can submit before your submission deadline because you're already done. This one just can be done during class and then immediately after class. Do not wait, do not procrastinate, and then at the end you already forget. Okay. So that one which is about creating the database. So now which is already 5:53. No questions. So I hope that you all of you which is already understand lah. Okay, now we are going to move to the next one, which is about creating table. For the database, we just only have one database, okay? So right now for you, you want to create your database, so that's your own database. That's why for me, actually, please, because for example, in your group assignment, you have 8 to 9. So please make sure that you have a backup, okay? But then backup, make sure that it is same please do not after this send me, email me, sorry, which is my database, which is because my computer crashed, I cannot do it or whatsoever. I'm not going to accept any excuse. And then also, if you have problem with a group member, you have to solve by yourself. If you think that that particular student which is not not participate, and then you didn't want that particular student in your group, so you have to send email to me together with all your group member with those that you didn't want to give any marks. Okay, so that one which is because I know that students sometimes some of the student which is just a sleeping partner. So that's why you have to push them, or if not, then you have to write letter, make sure that everybody agree. Those which is going to deduct the marks also agreed that she or he going to get 0 for this particular assignment. So make sure that you solve lah. Okay. So myself right now, we are going to move to the next one, which is creating table. Based on my example before this, I have 3 table, but I'm not going to show to you creating 3 table lah. I just show to you which is creating 2 table. Okay. Which is I'm going to show to you one creating table without foreign key, another one which is creating table with foreign key. Okay, you have to remember when you want to create a table, you have to create all the table without foreign key first. Okay, and then after that only you can create a table with foreign key. I repeat again, please remember, please put in your mind, okay, that you have to create a table without foreign key first. All the table. For example, you have 5 table and then 3 table without foreign key, then you have to create that 3 table first, and then after that only you can create the table with foreign key. Okay, remember that one. Okay, so this one which is relating to the syntax. Okay, so for the syntax, you can see that, let me make it bigger. After this, I will minimize again. Okay, so this one which is syntax for creating table. This is actually example of the syntax, but this syntax which is not a complete syntax because they didn't give to you which is about identifying the primary key. But from here, you can see that for the syntax, create table must start with the word create table, follow with the table name, open bracket, follow with your first column name together with the data type and data size, comma, next one, column number 2, data type and data size, comma, column number 3, data type and data size, and then comma, and then depends. If you have 15, then you have to keep on repeating 15 times. Okay, and then after that, at the end of everything, you have to close with you have to close your bracket, and then you have to end with the semicolon. Okay, and then this is example. Okay, for example, you are going to create a table person. So that's why you have to start with the word create table, person, open bracket, then your column number 1, your data type, and then if you want to put data size also can. For the integer is okay, but then not for the character. This integer, our editor they accept integer, not a number. Please remember, our editor accept integer, word integer, but not a number. But then for those who present before this, which is you already set data type as a number, I accept. But if you think that you want to change, it's okay, you can change. Okay, and then for example, this one, they have 4 columns, so they have to list down, sorry, they have 5 columns, they have to list down the 5 columns and then close with the with the bracket. But this one which is not complete because without primary key, but you have to refer to these 2. This one which is relating to the creating table with primary key but then without foreign key. But then the second one which is creating a table that have a foreign key. Previously, I told you that must start with the table without foreign key first. So let's see what we can do based on this one. Let me open again my ERD before this. So this is my ERD. Okay. So from this ERD, actually, this one, because as I already told you before, we have to settle lah because this one which is many to many. So that's why I'm not going to to base on example between ship item and transportation event. But I'm going to base on ship item and retail center. So for this one, you can see that we have ship item with the 6 different attributes where item number as a primary key, and we have retail center with the 3 attributes where unique ID as a primary key. So this diagram, which is not the final version of the ERD, why we didn't have the foreign key. And then one more reason why, because we have many-to-many relationship. So that's why this one, as I already told you before, it is not the final version of the ERD. So you still have to improve. But then for this one, okay, we have to move. Okay, we are going to have a foreign key based on what your friend already showed to us before this, and then I already explained. If you want to create a foreign key, you have to base on the cardinality of the relationship if it is one-to-many relationship. But then if it is optional one-to-one relationship, you have to remember again what we already done for the transformation process in the section in the database design section 9 that we already covered last week. Okay, but then for this one, since retail center, the cardinality which is 1, but then ship item retail center which is many, it means that unique ID in the table retail center will become foreign key in the table ship item. Again, I repeat, since cardinality in the retail center which is 1 and cardinality in the ship item which is many, so unique ID where the primary key in the retail center will become foreign key in the ship item. Okay, so you have to remember that ship item will have one new column or one new attribute which is unique ID as a foreign key. Once ship items has a foreign key, it means that we cannot create table ship item first, which is we have to create table retail center first. So now we are going to create our table retail center. So for the creating table, because table retail center without foreign key, then we are going to use example, this particular example, which is example without foreign key. But then for the delivery items, we have to use example with foreign key. So let's me based on this one first. So right now, before you start creating the table, you have to activate your database first. Because if not, then they didn't know you are going to create that table in which database. Okay, so for example, right now myself, I'm going to create this particular table in your database, which is I already named as a A192B ship. So I will activate this one. I will click, and then you can see that this one will be at the expand symbol. So it means that they will change to the minus symbol instead of plus symbol. So please activate your database first before you can add your table. So once you activate, you go to the tab SQL. Okay, so we have to start with the word create table. Oh, sorry. Create table and then follow with your table name. Right now, my table name, which is retail center. IL center. CENTER. So for this one, which is as what we already know before, for the table name, which is up to you whether you want to make it one single word or you want to put a underscore. So it is up to you lah, which one that you want. Okay, and then after that, you have to open bracket. Okay, next one, we are going to key in one by one. So for this one, which is up to you, whether you want to put unit ID first, type first, address, or you want to follow this way, which is up to you. Because we already know before this, the sequence or the arrangement of the column, which is insignificant. Okay, so that's why, which is up to you, how you are going to create. But then, for example, for myself, I want to arrange, I want to put the first column, which is the primary key, so I'm going to put unique ID. UNIQUE ID. Okay, this unique ID previously, which is I didn't save, but then for you, you have to refer back to your data dictionary. Okay, your unique ID, what is the data type, and then what is the data size. So you have to follow one by one lah from here. But then myself, I didn't save the previous one. Okay, so for example, for this one, unique ID, I'm going to use character because I want my unique ID start with the RC. Okay, so it means that start with the letter, not directly the number. So I'm going to use varchar. Varchar. VARCHAR, and then the next one, which is about the data size. So data size, for example, for this one, I want just to set 10. Okay, so close. And then the next one, you already remember that normally our primary key we set as a mandatory, where that one which is previously that you already set here. So if you have a star symbol, it means that you have to put not now. But if you have a small O symbol, that one which is no need to put not now. So again, refer back to your data dictionary. Myself, when I check your coding, I will check back based on your data dictionary. Okay. For example, for your assignment number 3, so it means that I will check everything again from here. But if you create here which is not equivalence or not same with what that you already create with your data dictionary, I'm going to deduct your mark. For myself, I'm just going to deduct your marks. But then if you in the real life situation, you have or you want to update again your coding. So it is up to you lah. So that's why you have to follow one by one from here. Okay. So for this one, for sure, primary key should be set as a not now. Okay. And okay, not now. Close with the comma. So that one which is for the first one, and then the next one which is I'm going to have another columns which is type. So for the type also I'm going to have to set as a varchar. Where the size, for example, for this one I'm going to set space. I'm going to set this one which is as 30. Okay, 30 character. So for the type, which is this one also I'm going to set as a not now. Okay, and the last one we have address. Okay, this address also varchar. And then the size I set as a 50. Okay, so for the address, it is depends whether the user want to key in or didn't want to key in. So this one which is I set as an optional. So if it is not optional, then I'm not going to put not now. Okay. After you already identify all the column which is relating to the attributes, and then you have to identify which one which is primary key. So that's why you have to key in the word primary key here. Okay, and then open bracket, and then you have to know which column actually you are going to set as a primary key. So for example, right now, I want to set unique ID. Okay, ID as my primary key. So I put unique ID there. Okay, and then I enter. Okay, I will close the bracket, and then I will end with the semicolon. Okay, so before we hit button go, if any mistake or whatsoever, let's copy first. Okay, let's see whether I do mistake or not relating to this part. Okay, so I already copied, then I'm going to hit button go. Okay, so since there are no error message, it means that this one which is successful. There are no error in my in my syntax that I already create before. Okay, so right now we want to know about the structure, because from here you can see that you have to put the output. Okay, then if you want to put the output, and then in your assignment you can see that for the assignment number 3, for your output, I want you to get from the tab structure. So I already started here. So you can see that on the top here, there are one tab which is named as a structure. Okay, so you hit button structure. Sorry, I have to activate first. Activate the retail. Okay, and then I have, let me open, maximize this one. Okay, you go to the button structure. And then you will get, okay, so far right now you can see that we have 3 different columns, unique ID, type, and address. And then you can see that next to the unique ID, I have one key. It means that this one, which is I set as a primary key, all the data type which is there, that what we already key in before this. Okay, and then the next one, I want you to refer to the now. So you can see that previously when I start the coding, at the type and unique ID I set as a not now, so that's why they will pop up no here. So if you want to capture at the output, I will go to the snipping tool. Okay, so I will snip this part. Then I will paste here. Okay, then you have to rearrange a little bit because this one is the size which is quite big. So you can see that this is what that you have to show. So that's why for your assignment number 3, this is your assignment number 3. So you have to put it here one by one lah. If you have 5, for example, for your assignment number 3, you are going to have 5 different entities. This means that you have to repeat 5 times for all of your table. Then you have to copy and paste here one by one. Okay, but then previously my students, some of my students, they change, okay, the sequence of this table. So they make it like okay, for example, okay, so for table number 1, table number 1, which is for the retail center TRE. Then under retail center, then they add table okay. So this one which is syntax, syntax, and then this one. No. Delete. Okay, so they put all the syntax here, for example, create, table, and so on. Okay, and then this one, which is they put as an output. So that part, the output, they draw here. So this one, which is also acceptable, because some students told me that it is quite difficult to arrange based on what they already set here. So that one, which is also acceptable based on your creativity, as long as I have the table name, I have the SQL statement together with the output. So up to you lah. You want to arrange this way, and then you want to print in the landscape, or you want to arrange to the below at the bottom also, which is acceptable. Okay, so that one, which is about the arrangement. Then let me minimize again. Okay, so you already done this part, which is just only create retail center table, where this retail center table just only have a primary key without foreign key. So now we are going to move to the next one, next table with the foreign key. So table with the foreign key, which is table ship item, where we have unique ID as the what you call that, as a foreign key. Okay, so now make sure that your database which is activate. So you go to the button. Okay, you go to the button SQL, and you have to start with the create table lah. We are going to create table. Okay, and then our table name right now, which is ship item. Okay, and then, oh sorry, previous one, myself also right now, actually I have to remove this one because the tables should have S. So I have to drop this one and then I have to create again for this part, which is I'm going to show to you after this for dropping the table. So please remember, myself which has already done mistake. Okay, so for the shape item and then follow with the bracket and then you have to list down all of your attributes name. So for the first one, item number. Okay, first one which is item number. Okay, my item number, because I want to start with the I, so I'm going to set as a voucher. Voucher, for example, for this one, I set as 10. And then since this one, which is primary key, then I'm going to put not now. Okay, comma, and then the next one, which is weight. Okay, weight also, weight, because I'm going to perform calculation, I'm going to use integer. So for the integer, which is up to you whether you want to put the size or not. So maybe we can put as a 5. Okay, close. And then the next one, which is dimension. Dimension. Okay, dimension, because my figure I want 14 times 4 times 4. So I'm going to use voucher. And then, for example, for this one, I'm going to use 15. Next, insurance amount, INSURANCE So for this one, I'm going to perform calculation. So I will put integer. So for this one, which is 5. Next, destination, voucher. Then I set as a 20. Okay, after destination, next one, which is final delivery date. Final delivery date. So for this one, because I want to set as 18th of July, so I'm going to use voucher VRCHR. So make it as a 10. Okay, close. And then please remember this one, we already list down all the attributes, original attributes, which is belongs to the sheet item. Okay, which is starting from the item's number until final delivery date. But you have to remember, previously we have one column which is as a foreign key, where we have a unique ID as a foreign key. So you also have to add that particular column. Okay, you have to add. If not, then you cannot key in the data. You will get the error message. So you have to key in unique ID. Okay, ID. But then for this unique ID, you have to follow based on the original, original data from the original information. So that's why you can see that this one, which is varchar 10, then you have to follow varchar 10. Okay, so if you have 5 foreign key, it means that you have to add 5 column one by one, all the foreign key from the other table. Okay, not just only this table. But if you didn't key in, you cannot create foreign key. Please remember, you also have to add column for the foreign key. So that's why from here you can see that unique ID actually belongs to the retail center. but it is a foreign key in the table ship item, then you also have to create column for the ship item. Okay, sorry, for the unique ID for this one. Okay, so that one which is just only creating the column, and then the next one you have to key in for the for the primary key, where primary key for this one which is item number. So you have to key in word primary key. Okay, the primary key right now which is item number. Okay, close this one. Must end with a comma, and then after primary key, then you have to identify the foreign key. Foreign key must start with the word foreign key. Okay, and then after word foreign key, you have to open bracket, then you have to put the column name of the foreign key. So right now our column name for the foreign key which is unique ID. So you have to key in unique ID here. Okay, and then the next one you have to put word reference. Okay, reference, after word reference you have to know that particular foreign key comes from which table. Okay, so right now this one which is come from the table retail center, so you have to key in retail center first. Okay, and then after the name of the table, then you have to key in the name of the key. Again, you have to key in unique ID. Okay, and then close. Okay, and then enter again, close full bracket, and then close with a semicolon. So before we hit button go, whether we are going to check we have any mistake or not, so please copy and paste first in your what I call that, in your Microsoft Word. Okay, paste this one. So this one which is for the with the foreign key, then let's try to hit run whether we have error or not. So let's hit go. Okay, since here ship item which is already exists, and then there are no error message here, it means that there are no error when I'm creating my ship item table. So if you want to get the output for this one, again activate table ship item, go to the structure, and then at the structure, then you can see that we have item number which is with the gold color, this one which is a primary key, and then this one which is we already set as a not null, and then you can see that we have another key, this key which is in the silver color. This silver color is means that this one which is a foreign key. Okay, so we want to get the result. Let's snip this result from here until here, and then we are going to paste in our Microsoft Word for this part. Yeah. This is the problem with the table. Okay. Enter. Okay, I'm going to paste it here. So this is the result for the table with the foreign key. Okay, so you can see that we have unique ID as the foreign key. So that one which is relating to the table creation. Now, I give you 5 minutes to create your table, both table without foreign key and then for the table with foreign key. Just only 5 minutes, which is now, which is 4:23, 4:28. Then you have to what I call that, you have to show to me. But then for those which is already done, then if you have any mistake, okay, and then you want to check with me and also your friend, then you can present your script. For those which is already done, while you see how I'm doing, and then you do it, you also do it together, then you can ask right now, or whatever that you want to share, then you can share. But then for others, please make sure that you do it within 5 minutes. Come on, anyone want to share what that you already done? What is your output? Do you have error or is it success? Come on, anyone want to show? Anyone got problem? Do you have problem? If you have problem, then you can present your screen and then we are going to see together how we are going to solve that particular problems. Come on. Show me whatever you have done. All of you success, huh? No problem at all, huh?
Yes, doctor.
So you want to show your screen? Do you have problem?
No, no, no.
No. So success, huh? For you?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay, can I start with the next one? I think that none of you which is facing problems. Okay, now which is already for 28. Okay, so next one which is we are going to move to the next one which is about altering the table. So as what I already told you before, even though, okay, we already create a table, but then after that we think that we are going to add another column or we are going to remove columns from our table, then we can do it as long as that particular columns which is not a primary key or foreign key. Okay, if primary key or foreign key, then you have to do it from beginning. If not, then you have to drop the table, then you have to recreate again the table. Okay, please remember that one. So for the alter table, for example, okay, I want to add something from the table. Let's me just based on retail center lah. Okay. Retail center, before this, you can see that, okay, we have 3 different columns. Okay. Where we have address, type, and also unique ID. So we have address, type, and unit ID, type, and address. Okay, because if you see from here, which is normally they will arrange alphabetical order lah. But if you want to know about the arrangement, how you arrange actually in original table, then you can go to the table structure. But from here for the retail center, for example, I'm going to add one more column which is retail center name. Okay, so I want to add new column. That particular table which is already exists. So if I want to add a new column, then as usual, but then for this one, please clear first. Okay. So for the for the alter table, if we want to add column, we have to start with the word alter table, follow with our table name, and then we have to put word add. Okay, and then the next one which is okay, add, and then the next one which is follow with the column name and also data type and data size, and then close with the semicolon. So now we are going to use alter table. Right now, as I already told you before, I want to change at the retail center. Okay, and then I'm going to add okay, my column name right now, which is address, retail center address. Okay, and then the next one, data type, which is voucher. And then I'm going to set, sorry, not retail center address which is already there. Retail center name. Okay, voucher, and then for this one, which is I'm going to set as a 20. So close, and then close semicolon. So before we hit button go, let's copy first. Okay, so then we are going to hit button go. Let's see whether we have error or not. Okay, so far there are no problems, there are no error, and then you can see that we already have one new column which is retail center name, but then I want you to copy from the structure. So under structure, go this one. Okay, and then until this part, and then next one you just paste it here. Okay, size a little bit. Okay, so that one which is for adding the column. But let's move to the next one. If I want to drop the column, so for example, right now, no, I didn't want retail center. What you call that? I didn't want retail center name. Okay, so I want to remove again this one. So make sure that you activate table retail center. Go to the SQL and clear this part first. Okay, so we are going to use alter table. And then follow with our table name. Our table name right now, which is retail center. Okay, and then follow with the drop column. And then follow with your column name. Your column name that we want to drop right now, which is retail center name. Okay, so close with the semicolon. And then copy first. Paste it here. Then let's see whether we have error or not. Hit button go. Then they will pop up a warning. You have to read first. They will ask you whether you want to delete or not, or you want to execute or not. Then I want to drop. So that's why I'm going to click button OK. And then you can see that this one, the retail center, which is already gone. Go to the structure. And then you can see that this one, which is also already gone. There are no more retail center name. So this part, again, copy and paste. Until here, then paste it here. Okay. Size everything. So that one which is altering table. Okay. Next, we are going to remove. Okay. Let's see what happened. For example, right now we already have two table. Okay. Which is we have table retail center and we have table ship item. Under retail center, you can see that, okay, we didn't have a foreign key, but then for the ship item, you can see that we have foreign key, which is unique ID from the retail center. Okay, so for this one, let's see what happened. If you want to drop the table, we can use word drop table followed with the table name. But then again, I repeat this one, table, for the table shape item, we have foreign key. But then for the table retail center, we didn't have foreign key. But you have to remember, for the foreign key, unique ID, which is actually belongs to the table retail center. So right now, for example, I want to delete table retail center first. For example, I want to delete the table where in that particular table, their primary key, which is being used as a foreign key in another table. So that's why for the drop table, we just start with the, sorry, not here. Okay, let's go to the SQL. Okay, drop table. Okay, now I want to delete the table key in another table. So I want to delete table retail center. Okay, where actually is being used in the sheet item. So before we do or rerun or we go hit button go, copy first. Okay, and then let's see whether we can drop or not table retail center because they have a where they have their primary key which is being used as a foreign key in another table. So hit button go, click OK. But then you can see that error message, pop-up error message. What's the problem? So read MySQL said that cannot delete or update parent now where foreign key constraint fail. Because previously I told you that in the table retail center, okay, where their unique ID being used as a foreign key in the table ship item. So that's why it is unsuccessful. Okay, so now for example, I try to delete. Next one, I'm going to drop table. Okay, but I'm going to drop the table where that particular table, which is none of their key being used as a primary key in another table, which is table ship item. Okay. This. So let's hit button go. Okay, this one, we really want to delete. Yes. See, there are no error message. And then you can see that here, that particular table will no longer exist in our database. So for this one, because we want to show that the process which is successful. Okay. This one, and then you just paste it here. This part again. Okay, so see that one which is no longer exists. So we just only have one table here. Okay, but if I want back my table, my what we call that ship item table, so I just copy from here. Okay, go to my editor, clear this part first, paste, and then hit button go. See my ship item table, which is again exists in my database. Okay, so from here you can see that I already done all the part which is actually can be done relating to the data definition language. So data definition language which is more to the creating the structure of the database. Creating the structure relating to the database itself and also relating to the table structure. So under creating database or relating to the structure for database, we have create database in order for database creation, and also we have which is relating to the remove database. For create database, if you want to create in database, we use the word syntax create database. But then if remove database, we use the syntax drop database. Okay. After we create the database, then we can create the table. So under create table, okay, syntax which is actually start with the create table, follow with the table name, and then the next one follow with the columns, names, and also the type name. But you have to remember for the create the table, you have to create the table without foreign key first, and then after that only you can follow with the table with the foreign key. Okay, so that one which is about the creating the table. That's one which is under DDL also we have another option that we can done which is relating to changing the table definition. So changing table definition where we can add the column and also we can remove the column. Okay, so for changing definition, we start with the word alter table, follow with the table name. And if we want to add column, we have to follow with the word add. And then the next one, which is column name and data type. But if you want to remove the table, we have to follow with the word drop column, follow with your column name. Okay. And then the last one, which is what can be done relating to the data definition language, which is actually removing table, or you want to delete the table. Under removing table for data definition language, we are going to use with the word drop table, follow with the table name. But you have to remember, if you want to drop the table, you cannot drop the table that, or you cannot simply drop the table that have one of your column which is being used as a foreign key in another table. Okay, if you still want to drop that particular column, it means that you have to change the table at the change the what we call that the structure of the table in the table that use your foreign key, and then after that only you can drop your particular or that particular table. Okay, so that one which is relating to the restriction. So actually for today I already cover about the developing the database, where actually you already can do your assignment section or your assignment 3 for chapter 4.1 relating to the data definition language. But then for this one, which is I just test you relating to the creating the table. I didn't test you which is about altering the table, deletion the table, and so on. But then that one for sure, in the process of creating the table, you have to do all those steps, whether you have to change the table or you want what we call that drop that particular table. Okay, so that's all for this part. Anyone want to show what that you have done for your own exercise? So if you want to show, then you can take over my presentation.
Doktor,
Anyone?
tanya doktor.
Yes, yes.
Kan macam tadi doktor kata, table, kalau kita nak delete table, tak boleh nak delete yang, kan macam unit ID tadi, ada satu dia pakai sebagai foreign key dekat table, dia jadi primary key dekat retail center kan, lepas tu jadi unit ID dekat lagi satu table kan. Kan kita tak boleh nak delete retail center punya table sebab unit ID tu dipakai sebagai foreign key dekat table yang lain kan.
Betul.
Okay. Kalau deleting column, boleh ke kalau kita delete primary key walaupun primary key tu digunakan dekat foreign key di table lain?
Tak boleh. Once ada foreign key dekat table lain, memang awak tak boleh delete.
Oh, even column pun?
Even column pun memang tak boleh delete.
Okay, thank you,
Yang
Doktor.
alteration tu except for foreign key and primary key.
Okay,
Okay.
terima kasih.
Okay, sama. Any other question? Or you want to show your problems? You face problems, you face error, which is, I didn't face the error before this when I perform all those DDL, but then for yourself, you have that problem. So you can show, then we are going to solve together. Come on. No one want to show. It's okay, never mind. You try first for this one, but then before we start next class, then I have to make sure that everybody which is already done. So if you have any problem, share in your own WhatsApp group first. Discuss among yourself first. But then if your friend which is what we call that, didn't give you the input and so on, then you can ask me during the next class lah. Okay, and then now actually we still have another 15 minutes before our class end. So if you want to show to me your assignment also can. Okay, so you can show to me your assignment. You want to get clarification, and then also you can show to me which is related to the problems that you face for your what we call that, SQL. Ada tak? Ada siapa-siapa ada masalah? Anyone got problems?
Oh, Doktor, saya ada satu soalan lagi, Doktor.
Okay, boleh.
Tapi bukan relating to top chapter lah. Untuk penghantaran assignment.
Okay.
Okay, macam sebelum ni assignment 1 dengan assignment 2, Doktor dah rearrange balik date dia kan untuk penghantaran. Untuk assignment 3, still deadline dia besok.
Tak. Assignment 3, I will extend to week 12.
Okay, masih ada.
So I will
Paramai tanya saya semalam.
Tak ada. Nanti saya akan extend kemudian. Sebab saya tak tengok lagi week 12 tu bila dia punya deadline dia. But then you have to remember lah, still we maintain with the week 12. But then the date for sure maybe in mid-July lah.
Okay, baik.
Okay. Okay, ada lagi yang nak tanya saya?
Doktor,
Ya?
yang exercise SQL DDL ni,
Okay.
kena ikut assignment 2 kita
You boleh ikut assignment 2 ataupun you boleh ikut assignment 3.
Oh, okay.
Ataupun you nak guna contoh yang lain, but then not from my assignment, not from my example. Because I want you to do the mistake. Kita nak bila ada masalah tu, daripada situ baru kita tengok apa jadi ni apa semua. Sebab bila saya buat, everything just move. So kita tak nak benda tu. You also already done for your assignment number 1. Assignment number 2 and assignment number 3. But then at least assignment number 2, then you can show to me first, because next week, which is the last day for you to show, because before your submission, which is on the 26th of June. Okay, and then again for your assignment number 3, ignore the submission deadline first. That one which is I will extend to mid of July. Okay, so that's all. Anyway, thank you for coming to our